Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the DJP. On this episode, my guest is my friend, John Osborne. John and I have known each other for about 10 years and have gone through some pretty interesting times together, to say the least. John was one of the first people that tried to get me into recovery several years ago. It did not work at the time, not for his lack of trying, but for my lack of being ready to be able to heal, if we're being honest. John is approaching his 6th year in recovery right now, so big congrats to him. I wish I would have gotten on board when he was trying to get me on board, but that's irrelevant now, right? Anyway, John is a seeker of truth, an artist, a father, a son, a brother, an intuitive empath, a level 46 skin suit operator, and you can find him dropping knowledge on TikTok at BPD Survivor 422. I haven't actually spoken to John in about 5 years, maybe longer, maybe it's been about 6 years. I think it was right around when he first got into recovery. Obviously, that's not when I got into recovery. So it's been a while since we've seen each other. And we took this opportunity to get together and catch up a little bit and record it. We talk a lot about relationships, monogamy, shadow work, recovery, obviously, the Dharma, and the big veil dropping that's about to be happening on Halloween. You'll hear more about that if you listen to the episode. If you enjoy the episode, please remember to go rate, review, and subscribe to the show on preferably Apple Podcasts, but really wherever you receive your podcasts from. Anyway, let's get to it. Without further ado, John Osborne.
You might catch yourself sliding in and out of a hallucinatory state. Just relax and enjoy it. Just relax and enjoy it.
This is an experiment in mind formation. Information. Forming, controlling, operating your mind and your brain. Using digital techniques to overload, scramble, confuse, unfocus your mind. The natural state of the brain is chaos. Chaos is beautiful.
So what have you been up to, man?
Most recently?
Yeah.
I mean, we haven't seen each other in a number of years at this point, so.
Still a little bit
Most recently, post-relationship, a recent exit from a relatively toxic situation that absolutely became a springboard for yet another spiritual awakening on a grand scale. Not like the usual ones. Not like I woke up today and there was a synchronicity.
Right.
And I noticed that.
Not the
and
daily.
That's an awakening by itself. Just a little notice of synchronicity. There's an awakening.
Right.
But no, one of the major awakenings of my life.
Right. How long were you guys together?
This one was only 16 months, but we had a connection that is hard for me to describe. It was strange. It was mildly inappropriate. She's the youngest daughter of somebody who was one of my friends long before she was even born. But the deep irony in that is that I was told he was dead in, 2008, 2009,
right?
Maybe 2010. I had no idea that he had 2 daughters in the first place. I knew about her older sister,
right?
But they walked into a room that I happened to be sitting in, and they used fictitious last names on social media until I had a conversation with them, and they told me their real last name, and that's where the light bulb came on, and because of my interaction with them, because the room that I was sitting in and all the hubbub that goes with that, I was in a place that, mentally I was in a place of healing already. And because, of course, I'd gotten out of yet another extremely toxic relationship that lasted 28 years. But, so at that point, I'd come to a point of healing that allowed me to help others also heal.
Right.
The problem, though, is that the method of healing that I've experienced involves going through a dark night of the soul and doing some serious shadow work. And when they're not ready for the shadow work and they walk up and they're like, hey, I know, blah, blah, I'm this name, I'm that name. You caught my attention from across the room and I felt like coming up to talk to you. It's like, yeah, well, that's law of attraction. That's how it works. The cure for loneliness is companionship. Hi, I'm so-and-so.
It's funny how it works that way.
Yeah, well, I ended up attracting people that were further from healing than I was.
Yeah, that happens.
And because of who I am and what makes me who I am, I helped. And where my initial motivations were completely altruistic because of the dynamic of human sexuality, I spent a lot of time alone with her, discussing healing and healing each other and having a companion. And it became a romantic relationship.
It's kind of evolved into that.
Or a romantic situationship, I guess.
Right. I mean, it's not completely unfounded that would happen. I mean, it seems like, all the conditions were kind of right.
Yeah, well, yeah, they were.
Yeah. I was just talking to a friend of mine about that today. He cheated on his girlfriend and he got caught. And I think they're back together, and I was like, yeah, that's rough. But it's, and this is going to sound fucked up, but like as men, it's like in our biology, and we have to fight our biology constantly. Like, I mean, innately, most dudes are kind of pieces of shit. Like most of the guys I've met are pretty scandalous, in my opinion. And that's just my opinion. Kind of put themselves out there, like, in a way that's a little gross. And I think I have the capacity for that. You know what I mean? Like, I think I try to control that part of myself. And I don't, not necessarily great at it all the time. But one thing I can say is I don't cheat on my girlfriend. So I got that going for me. At least I got that. Yeah. But yeah, it's hard, especially when you're in a situation like that. You're fighting against your biology or not. You choose to or not to.
Well, by and large, it's been my partners that cheat on me.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I'm not that guy.
Classically, yeah.
I'm not that guy. Me too. So, but as far as the statement of that guys, no, I'm not going to attach to that.
You don't have
I'll
to.
say humans.
You don't have to.
People in general, because I'm
talking about purely like on a biological testosterone based level.
I think realistically, we're all still relatively humans here, and we've got both in all bodies.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, there's a balance involved. And when there's out of balance, we're crossing into a whole different realm of conversation.
Oh, for sure. 100%. So you ended up in this relationship.
I did.
Situationship.
Yeah.
Pardon.
Well, for the sake of argument,
we won't even label it. You ended up in this situation.
In this situation where I loved somebody, and I'm not going to claim that she didn't love me back. I'm going to say that I believe that her perception of love and her impression of love may be a bit skewed by comparison to mine. So where that might work for her, and I hope that it does, where that might work for her, that does not work for me.
Right.
So a lot of it was based on dishonesty. There was dishonesty involved. And I believe it was a little bit on both parts. I might have had a little self-deception going on in the process. I was never dishonest with her.
Right.
I might have been dishonest with myself along the way. Well, that was fun.
Well, I think this place might be haunted. Pretty sure.
Well, typically when I strike a chord, the universe...
That's actually not the first time that's happened.
The universe replies when we strike chords.
It's not the first time that's happened.
And I've got a wind chime right outside the place where I sit. And I make recordings on TikTok. And during those recordings, when I strike on a subject that, is right. Pertinent, the wind chime will activate just at those moments.
That's It's strange.
Synchronicities and everything.
Yeah, that's fun. You start noticing them more and more.
Well, the closer you pay attention.
So, dishonesty.
There was dishonesty. You know, I'll still take accountability for my own dishonesty with myself.
Right.
You know, again, I will not claim to have been dishonest with her because that wasn't the case. But there was open dishonesty on her part. Right. In the process. Yeah. And there was a lot of hidden dishonesties too, but it's the human condition, and she is not quite as emotionally mature as she could be, even for her own age, which was quite young. You know, just barely 21 at this point. She turned 21 in April, and I am 46. So, yeah, it's a little bit of a gap. It's easy to presume the mommy daddy issues involved in that, and it's. I mean, it was a perfect recipe for a toxic relationship, but it had the potential to be something non-toxic. Right. Had we both been doing the work instead of me doing the work and then getting to a certain point and then kind of taking a few steps back to help her catch up. So it's like, you know, the energies that I had created at that point that we met were considerably higher than they were by the time we split up. Right. And instead of her putting in the effort to elevate hers, I allowed myself to bring myself down. You know, I brought my vibration down to a closer, reachable level to hers. That happens.
That's lowering your vibration is definitely going to be easier than raising somebody else's.
Indeed.
It's not hard to do that. It's pretty simple.
I made the example yesterday or today, something like that, that it's, you know, gravity's always involved. So it's a lot easier to fall down the stairs than it is to fall up them, though it is very possible to fall upstairs as well. But the likelihood is that you will fall down them.
Generally, that's the case. So. I've found. Generally. But I have fallen upstairs as well. But I think, definitely the ratio is a little skewed towards down the stairs. Yeah. And it seems like falling down the stairs is a little bit more detrimental than falling up the stairs. Falling up the stairs isn't comfortable. But falling down can be deadly.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, okay. So spiritual awakening. We go through this dark night of the soul, which is always fun, right?
Oh, it's super great. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like my favorite shit. Oh, God. It's like my favorite shit.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
no, let's stop lying about this. This is
no. I mean, like, really, because I know if I'm in that, I know if I'm in that, like, I've got work to do, and then, like, I'm going to come out on the other side. You know what I mean?
I'm not going to claim that it's my favorite, though.
Oh no, it's probably not my favorite.
I do have an appreciation for it, though. I do have an appreciation for the learning process. If it was easy, everybody could do it. If it was easy, we wouldn't have to put any effort into it. No, if we didn't put any effort into it, there would be no point.
I've got to say, if it was easy, everybody would do it. Everybody can do it.
Absolutely.
Everybody has the capacity to do it.
Indeed.
But everybody won't do it. That's the thing.
No.
Yeah.
No. We get to this point of comfortability. And a lot of us, myself included, for a number of years, a lot of us just get so comfortable that we stay in it, even if it's a bucket of our own excrement. You know?
It's a delightful picture you're painting.
Right?
Yeah.
You just get comfortable in it.
You get just used to it. Yeah.
And you stay there. And it's like, okay, well, still water stagnates. It attracts parasites. So if I stay still, I'm going to stagnate. And I'm going to attract parasites too. And that's the reality of my life.
Yeah, that's a handy analogy. That's a handy fucking analogy for sure. Yeah, you don't want to attract parasites.
No.
Because they're hard to get rid of.
Yes, they are. Some far harder than others. But sometimes,
I could name a few.
You know, and I hate to use the analogy. Sometimes the trash takes itself out, because I don't think of any of my exes as trash. I think that, you know, I could definitely have lived without their behavior, but I still love them for who they are.
Oh yeah,
in essence.
I was just about to say I still have love for every one of my exes.
Absolutely.
Am I in love with them? Absolutely not.
You know,
absolutely not. Do I think they're wonderful people? Probably not. But they're doing the best they can.
You know, I believe that
there was a time and a place where I was very in love with all of them. But,
absolutely.
You know, we grow as people and we change and we evolve and we grow apart.
For sure.
You know, some people, you know, grow faster than others, and some people don't grow at all. And
you know, everybody grows at their own pace.
Right. Exactly. And you can't force anything.
Nope.
That's the big thing. It's not like not forcing it, but you know, if you try to force anything like that on somebody, most time they're going to be. Yeah, it's not going to really work out. They're going to be kind of
going to definitely repel them.
Yeah. Yeah. You have to really not proselytize all the ins and outs, which can be hard to do, especially when it's something you're passionate about. But you know, self-control yet again.
But I was on a cycle of repetition in that regard, though, regarding romantic relationships or relationships that went in a sexual direction.
Right.
Whether we use the word romantic or otherwise.
Right.
Once things became a sexual issue, it created, of course, the further. It's like an imprint. It's not even an attachment. It's like, okay, this is now my north.
Right.
This is now my focus. I'm going to focus on this. You know, and there's so much confusion involved in the differences between creative energy and sexual energy, because they derive from the same general area, and it's like it's over sexualized everything anymore. And for some of us, myself, for me, I'll be more specific. For me,
right.
At a younger age, I did not have the emotional quotient to handle it. I did not have the emotional intelligence. I did not have the emotional maturity to be able to separate sex from love. And you know, I had this impression that when we had sex, it meant love. And I actually had to feel love before I would be willing to have sex. They recently came up with a title for that. They call it demisexual. I had to have an established emotional attachment or connection to the person involved. Otherwise, I wasn't going to involve myself in it.
Right.
And I've found that the majority of the people that I've encountered and had those encounters with did not feel the same way about it, but they weren't honest about it.
Yeah.
I was honest about it.
Yeah.
And it kind of set me up for their dishonesty at that point, because I relied on them to return my honesty with honesty. And it was a high expectation for humanity. It really was.
Well, that's one why I try to steer clear of expectations.
Well, it was a hope.
Yeah.
That
I mean, that's always the hope, right? I mean, I guess. I mean, unless if that's the framework of your relationship, if you're believing you're in a monogamous relationship, I believe that's the goal, right?
Indeed.
But, yeah.
But that was an established conversation.
Exactly.
You know,
exactly.
That was established communication between myself and the person I called my partner that we would be monogamous.
Right.
And I kept up my end of the deal.
Yeah.
You know, I kept up my end of the deal.
Yeah.
And, a lot of disappointments there.
Yeah.
But it's what it is.
So how was your dark night of the soul after that?
Oh man, this one by comparison to some of the others, like the more recent divorce of mine happened, and that one affected me far more than this one did.
Well, I'm sure.
Far more, because the relationship itself was 28 years long. The marriage itself was only 3. Right. And it definitely took a larger part of me than this one did, but it still took a part of me. You know, without question. I invested myself wholly in this partner. And though my intuition told me the entire time that I was not going to be receiving anything back, I knew it. And I did it anyway because I'm stupid. No, not really. I did it anyway because I followed my heart.
Right. Well, that's the reason you do anything. If you do anything with an intention to gain something, you're in it for the wrong reasons.
No, I wanted to love, and I wanted to be loved in return, and that was the agreement that we made with each other.
That's very human of you.
Yeah, right?
I mean,
I'm trying.
We're being really honest.
I'm trying really hard with this human thing.
Yeah. Me too. Doing much better at it than I used to.
Indeed.
Yeah.
I concur, sir. Concur.
Yeah.
We've known each other for some years, and I very much appreciate where we are both at this point in our lives.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely a welcome change from some of the situations I've found myself in before.
Indeed.
Yeah, we won't.
Or some of the situations I put myself in before.
Oh no, yeah, for sure. No, I am the reason. Let's get something straight here. Let's get something straight. I am for sure the reason all of the fucking stupid shit happened to me. It's nobody's fault but mine. I made all those decisions, but hey, you know what? At that point, that was the height of my decision making.
I chose to be where I was at.
Yeah.
I put myself there.
I was a conscious participant.
Indeed.
Until I was an unconscious participant. And even then, I think I still, it had to get to the point where it would be easier and less painful to change than it would have been to stay the same. You know?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I mean, once the fear of change is overcome, recovery is possible.
Yeah.
You know, and
pull your mic up a little bit.
Trying to be on the other end of things, in regards to recovery, and it applies to everything. You know, my recovery began with the recovery from the use of drugs. My recovery has evolved. You know, I've already shed that part.
Right.
I don't have any inclination or compunction whatsoever to use drugs at this point because I know what they do to me.
Right.
You know, and I very much cherish my connection with Source, and I do not want to sever that ever again. And I've done a lot of work to reconnect, and I'm not going to undo myself like that.
Right.
Not at all.
Yeah. Why would you?
There is no reason.
It seems pretty counterintuitive.
And I mean, you know, there is no reason, and I mean that in the way that there is no logic behind anything like that. If I were to choose to use any kind of substance again at this point, it would be a conscious decision to kill myself at that point. And I'm not about that anymore either.
Yeah.
That is not the vibration I live in.
No.
That is actually the vibration of my past, and I don't live there either.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, and I'm not going back there.
Right. Well, you're not even the same person now.
Not at all.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful for that.
Oh, man. Yeah. Same here, man.
I can tell you there's a decent portion of society that's grateful for that.
Yeah, for sure.
Part of my living amends is to not be that person ever again.
Yeah, same. And part of my living amends is just to, that the goal is to just, decrease the amount of suffering in the world.
Yeah.
That's really my only goal.
Starts at home.
Yeah. Yeah. Got to tend the part of the garden you can touch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's where the shadow work comes in. The wonderful, wonderful world of shadow work, where we get to face ourselves and all the things that have been hurting us and decide whether we want to keep them or not.
Well, you want to keep them.
Well, you have no choice but keep them, but will we allow them to dictate our behavior at that point?
No, you just invite them in for tea, man.
Yeah, well, it's a handshake.
You give them a hug and you say, thanks. Thanks.
Don't know how huggy I want to be, but a handshake's good.
No, you hug your bullshit and you say, thank you for protecting me all those years, but I don't need you anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Off to pasture.
Well, the thing is, and this goes right back to Jung, is with the shadow, the goal isn't to get rid of the shadow. You can't get rid of the shadow.
No, absolutely not.
That's why you have to integrate the shadow.
Embrace.
It's knowing that darkness exists within you. It's knowing that darkness exists within you and not acting upon it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I think part of the
because that's where power lies, man.
Part of the difficulty for me along the way was coming to that realization. I've only recently started to realize that I don't need somebody outside of myself to create balance.
Oh yeah. That's the big one. That's the big one. It's like learning that nothing, man. And the thing is, everything in this world is impermanent.
Yeah,
everything.
Indeed.
Is everything.
Absolutely.
Quite literally everything. So nothing is made to last. So how can you derive lasting happiness from
anything external?
Anything that's subject to impermanence.
Yeah.
You just can't.
You
can't do it.
But
so you have to find happiness in otherworldly things or unworldly things,
Mm-hmm.
which is what I do with the Dharma. You know, that's where I live. It is in that place. I try to look at everything with the Dharma lens now, and it helps. I'm not gonna lie, it helps a lot. It's been instrumental
Absolutely
in my
concur.
recovery. It's been
Seeing the truth for the truth.
Yeah.
Without question.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been instrumental, like probably bigger than anything else. I owe my recovery to the Dharma for sure. I mean, that's the whole reason I'm doing this podcast.
Yeah. Well, it became the reason that I have a TikTok account.
Right.
So that I can try to help.
Yeah.
You know, I was playing around with words the other day, and you know, a lot of the spiritual realm involves what some folks will refer to as witchery, and you know, casting spells, the things we write, the things we say,
right,
the things we exude, the things we give away. We're casting spells. So I played with a sentence the other day, and ironically, it came together pretty easily. Be at peace by yourself. That one's still rolling around in my head. And if we play with the word, and we look at the root meanings behind them, take some of the spaces out, change the syntax a little bit. So, be at, all right, becomes a word in and of itself. It is the act of beatification. Beatification is the blessing of something, casting a blessing. The Roman Catholics used it in some of their ceremonies, saying that the Pope could beatify people and give blessings. But the reality is, the word be at peace, the sentence be at peace, is still only two words. Be at peace, exude peace. And you're blessing those around you with it.
Right.
While at the same time blessing yourself with it. And of course, whatever you put into the universe comes back.
Yeah, generally.
So, if we be at peace by yourself, now we get to play that one too. Be at peace by yourself. By, B-Y, or B-Y, B-U-Y. Are we alone, or are we creating karmic currency by being at peace?
It's a heady question.
Isn't it though? You know, so be at peace by yourself is a blessing. It's a spell. You're casting spells on people by telling them, be at peace. And that's where it starts, man. Wishing good on those around you is how we're going to elevate the vibration of this entire planet.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. That's quite literally everything. Yeah. I mean, you find that in the Brahma Viharas, man.
I don't read.
Why not?
Sadly, I don't read. I have ADHD, man. I can't. I'm actually pretty lucky with the TikTok platform because it's only 3-minute bursts.
Yeah. You know, they make these really interesting things now. Books on tape, audiobooks.
Yeah. Well, again, my ADHD energy, the 3-minute bursts, they're actually able to help me focus. And I actually did a 14-part series the other night. It blew my own mind because I was able to maintain a train of thought for that long, first and foremost. But, you know, I touched on a lot of subject, and I've gotten a lot of questions about it since then, which I'm happy to answer at any time.
Yeah.
You know, and
what kind of questions have you gotten?
The main question was the differences between the dimensions and densities, first, second, all through seventh in the bodies and whatnot. You know, their correlation to the chakras. First, second, third is our third dimensional things. Just everything tangible, of course. Fourth dimension is love. Right. Fifth dimension and above is connection to source. You know, starting with your throat. It's still communication. It's all actually communication based. But knowing the root of the communication itself, saying that all these 3-dimensional things, that's your Kundalini energy. Right. I always fumble that one. Yeah. So your creative energy. Right. Comes from the root, the sacrum, and the solar plexus. So what do we do with the root, the sacrum, and the solar plexus? We move our hips and we breathe. What can we do while we're moving our hips and breathing? Co-create things. Right. So you get into the fourth dimension, combination of the third and the fourth becomes your love of tangible things. combination there then creates the bridge to fifth dimensional communication. So you've got 3-dimensional love, 4-dimensional love, 5-dimensional love, and it's communicated in different ways. So we've got this tangible love in the third, fourth. Then we've got this love of self when it's fourth alone. And then our combination of fourth and fifth becomes love of something intangible. So some get offended by the word God. I've broken it into an acronym. I was taught how to break it into an acronym, call it good orderly direction. Okay, I'm not the one that came up with that. Somebody else did, and I repeat it.
Most of the things I say are things other people have said.
Indeed.
Original thought is difficult.
Well,
it's not difficult, but it's, I have this massive fear of rejection that I'm working through. So I don't expound on a lot of my own theories, but I do retain a lot of information about other people's theories that work for me, so they become my information. I have symbiosis with them and I use them to my advantage, but, I'll throw out some good original thought every now and then. I wrote a pretty good philosophy paper the other day.
Oh.
Man, somebody's getting it.
Oh, yeah. Synchronicity. Well, at this point, because of the amount of time that I've spent with this growth and spiritual attunement and the things that I believe, the things that I feel, the things that I express, my truth, still not original thought.
Right.
Not because I'm saying something that someone else told me, but I rely a lot on intuition and thought.
Right.
And I receive a lot of information through intuition.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Just pulling it from the ether.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It pours in.
Yeah.
I meditate almost constantly at this point, There's not a time during the day when I'm not going to take a couple seconds to take a few deep breaths and clear my mind, and that's my meditation.
Right, for sure.
That's my connection.
I do the same thing.
And every time I do that, it's like, I've described it like information popping in, but it's like you're on AOL and you're waiting for that dial-up, and everything's buffering at that point. You'll get little bits and pieces of information, but not the whole story.
Right.
And then after the buffering finishes, you get a lot more of it, and it's all just right there in front of you.
It's like waiting for that picture to load, like one line by one, like
exactly,
line by line by line.
Or like a dot matrix printer.
Right. Oh man, makes me want to make a big banner that says happy bar mitzvah or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's
like a really cheaply, poorly made banner from the 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I miss the 80s.
With the paper that's got the little strips on the edges.
Yeah. The perforations. Yes. Yeah. So they could actually feed through that archaic fucking machine that we had.
The good stuff.
Oh man.
Don't forget to shake the toner pack before you start it either.
Jeez, man. Technology has advanced so quickly.
Indeed.
It's ridiculous.
It was necessary.
It's ridiculous.
It was necessary for the technology to advance as much as it has, as quickly as it has, because the humans needed to be proven a point.
Oh, yeah.
When science fiction becomes science fact in your own lifetime, come on, man.
Yeah.
All right? That's the reason that this advancement had to come, because there's about to be an advancement on an evolutionary level for the humans, and the technology had to exist. Oh, I have no doubt in my mind.
In what capacity?
Things are going to shift for the better in the way of our connection to fourth and fifth densities, with the possibility of creating new bridges into sixth and seventh, because sixth is the manipulation of energy. Some of us are already doing that. A lot of us are already doing that and don't even know it. But then you get into the manipulation of matter, and that becomes a little far-fetched until you watch movies like The Matrix, because they're designed to soften your ideas.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
When this science fiction becomes science fact. Okay.
Yeah.
So when we talk about telepathic abilities,
it's not something that's completely unheard of. Then they're like, oh yeah. They've done that a lot.
Well, the advancement is about to come for the human race.
You think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's, yeah.
Do you think it's going to be as rapid of a progression as there was with technology?
Right now, and this is going to come off as more of a prediction or a prophecy than anything else, because that's the way people receive it. Samhain coming up, the October 31st, November 1st, November 2nd, that combination of days when the veil is typically just thinner than usual, is about to drop like a curtain. And the imperceivable and imperceptible will become perceivable and perceptible. And it's going to freak a lot of people out.
Sounds like a good night to smoke DMT.
Oof. I'm not going to reply to that.
Just kidding. Don't do that. I mean, if you want to, do it.
But
I'm not going to do it.
Natural organic things.
DMT is natural?
Through the ayahuasca ceremony, yes, DMT is natural.
Yeah.
We're not talking about that when you just throw out DMT, because that makes it the chemical, and no, I can't support that in the slightest. Not even a little bit.
Right.
Not at all.
Yeah. That's something I only did a handful of times. It was interesting.
Well, I mean, make no mistake, when I was still putting chemicals in my body, I put a lot of different chemicals in my body. And I continuously severed my connection. And I mean, for 4 full 7-year cycles, I did a full 28 years of use and abuse of chemicals. And I'm so grateful that I was able to break that one, because that was a generational karma. That wasn't even mine, man. I just picked it up where it was left.
Yeah.
You know, my dad carried that one in.
Yeah.
Brought it from his entire side of the family. And I got to break that. I'm grateful for being the one, but damn it was difficult.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not easy. If it was easy, everybody quit.
Yeah. Well,
I think.
I mean, realistically, though,
probably not.
To give it another dynamic, if it was easy, it wouldn't be worth the effort that it took to do it. You know, to be able to make the change, to live long enough to make the change. At the very least, to live long enough, to survive myself long enough to actually start making changes.
Yeah.
You know? And
man, I didn't think I was going to make it I didn't think I was going to make it past 30.
I was trying not to.
I think subconsciously I was.
I was consciously trying not to. It took my own life twice.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I definitely had attempts at certain times, but that was never anything I felt all the time.
Yeah.
But.
Well, what I felt all the time was all the people around me, and that's what drove me to it in the first place. Because I found out that the first time I put a chemical in my body, it was a beer. And by the time I was done drinking that beer at 8 years old, I could not feel a single thing, not even myself. And that was comfortable, man. And that was my introduction. I didn't start really using
Right.
until I turned 12. And I disconnected fast.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and I kept it mild until I was in my early 20s.
Yeah.
And then things went way, way out of control.
See, I didn't. I drank all through my 20s, pretty heavily. Well, not like really, really heavy, but I mean, I drank. I was playing music for a living and shit. I drank a lot. It was part of the culture I was in.
Yeah.
But I did, and I smoked weed, and it was the infrequent psychedelics, or somebody had offered me a bump of coke back then, and I'd be like, yeah, sure, why not? But I didn't really start really going off the rails with drugs until I was probably 32, 33. Yeah, I was a late bloomer in that aspect.
Well, I mean,
but thankfully so. Had I started earlier, I'm sure I would have kept going for who knows when I would have stopped. Who knows if I would ever stop. I can only speak from this branch of the multiverse where I chose to stop. That's all I've got is this reality. So I'm not going to throw out hypotheticals. I don't know. I just don't know. But yeah, I was 32. Yeah, I think I was 32. Yeah, I'm 31 or 32.
Well, I mean, over the course of my life, there were definitely traumatic experiences that bolstered my terrible decisions in the first place. The times that I allowed myself to come to such a low vibration that I was susceptible to pretty much anything around me. And I accepted just about anything around me. And that was still on me, obviously.
Yeah.
I still put myself there, but once I fully disconnected, dude, reaching me would have been like trying to grab a cloud with your hand. And I'm so ever grateful. But the first time I tried to get clean, I was 20. And I didn't try again until I was 41. And, you know, the 19 years in between those two attempts were by far the worst of my life. But I mean, it all started off really well, though. I was a multimillionaire by the time I was 25. I wish I could stop kicking this table.
That'd probably be a good thing.
But, you know, I have a hard time sitting still.
Yeah. It's that ADHD, right?
It is. But it's, you know, harnessing the energy and trying to redirect it. But yeah, a multimillionaire by the time I was mid-20s and had to walk away from it because my name got thrown into a hat. And I'm grateful for finding out that my name was in that hat so that I could get myself away from that hat.
Right.
And I've never looked back. Never gone back to that. You know, I took 10 years off at that point. I stopped dabbling with anything. I spent 10 years building my life back up again.
Right.
And something traumatic happened, and then I dumped back into it. I think it was pursuant to my father passing away. When my father passed away, I fell into it again.
Yeah.
And or more, I started to slip into it, and then I jumped in. Is more the reality of it. But again, that was 2015. You know, and I've trashed my life a few times over since then. But you know, when I decided to get clean, I take that back. My father's passing was 2005. I was just transposing. When I got clean was 2015.
Right.
But I think the most disturbing part about recovery for me was that I had to be present for my emotions for the last 6 years.
I think that's the whole point. You know,
and that was. I've even told people during my birthday celebrations in that regard that November 8th will be my 6 years without putting chemicals in my body. And
congratulations.
Thank you.
It's quite a milestone.
Thank you. Man, it's
seems like just yesterday.
Oh, no, it does not. No, it does not. I would love to feel that way about it, but it absolutely does not. I have been present for every moment of the last 6 years. I have experienced every emotion that has come to my plate, and I have eaten every single bit of it. And I am so grateful.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fun feeling things again, isn't it? Isn't it? I mean, not at first. Not at first. At first, it's a little overwhelming.
Now? This moment?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, I'm absolutely ecstatic. I'm elated at this point.
Human consciousness is like the greatest drug. Like just the whole experience. All the suffering, all the joy, like literally everything about it. It's like the most potent psychedelic there is. It's just being a human.
It sure is some freaky shit.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's fucking weird as shit. It's super weird. I mean, dude, it's weird.
Well, yeah, I mean, there are so many different echelons of weird involved in this.
Yeah, there's different levels of weird. There's different levels of reality.
Indeed.
And every fucking level of reality, in my experience, is weird as shit.
Super
Just
dimensional.
Just saying.
Super
it's all
multidimensional.
Yeah, and very bizarre, and most of the time, kind of uncomfortable.
Yeah. Pretty uncomfortable, but that's where we're supposed to be.
Yeah,
we're
for
supposed
sure.
to be
Absolutely.
uncomfortable.
Yeah,
that's the point of growth.
Yeah, 100%.
Point of growth is uncomfortability, and the longer we stay uncomfortable, the more we get to grow from it.
Right. That's why I choose to subject myself to uncomfortable situations. Like if it's something that I'm not comfortable doing, then I do it extensively.
Oh man, my brain just popped into all sorts of negative things involved in that because that's what I did with the toxicity. If it was going to hurt me, man, I was going to do it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure. Well, I had to get to a point where I learned how to draw the line on some things,
Absolutely.
And that was a difficult thing to learn.
Yeah. Very much so.
It took me quite a while to be able to even recognize a toxic situation and then remove myself from it.
Well,
And I'm still not great at it.
No.
I mean, I've been in a toxic relationship with myself for like 40 years.
Right?
But it's getting better. It's getting better.
The most toxic relationship I've ever had was with myself. And it's going to take a while for me to break that trauma bond entirely if I ever can. But I'm going to do that a lot with gratitude at this point. Remaining grateful for any and everything, tangible and intangible.
Right.
My gratitude alone is what, that's all it would take to keep me clean.
Right.
Just that. Obviously, I've got to put a lot of work into it. I've got to put a lot of work into it.
Well, yeah.
I put a lot of work into getting wasted.
Oh yeah, so much work. It was so hard.
So I got to put a lot of work.
Being a junkie was a
that.
fucking full-time job, man.
Mm-hmm.
It was an overtime job.
Believe it. The job you pay to have.
Yeah.
Ain't that fun?
Yeah, it was terrible. It was absolutely terrible. Looking back, I'm like, how did I live like that?
I don't want to remember how I lived.
I do. I have to remember how I lived, lest I fucking go back there.
Well, I guess more. I have to adjust my vocabulary on that one. I don't want to force myself to remember what it took to survive in those situations by looking back on it under a microscope.
Oh no, I'm not gonna look at any specifics.
I look at it.
I'm just looking at it as that lifestyle
mirror. So it's this tiny little mirror that
Yeah,
I'm looking
further-
at. And I'll
further
look over
away
my
you
shoulder
go.
at it and say, okay, well, yep, that exists. It's back there.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't live there.
Nice part about it is like the further away, the thing in the rearview mirror, the further you go, the smaller it gets. It finally goes away. Hopefully, because there's a lot of shit I'd love to forget about, but those are the things that pop into my head when I meditate and I have to sit with, and I'm like, ooh.
Well, the nature of the samsara is that it's eventually going to come back anyway. Yes, you'll get some distance from it, but it's never really gone.
No.
It will come back, especially if you slip.
Well, I put that
and forget
energy
about
out
it.
there.
Like yesterday, I got a speeding ticket on my way to work.
Oh, nice.
I didn't even have to be at work. I was just excited to go there.
Right.
If that doesn't blow my mind, I don't know. It's just like I was excited to go to work on a day that I don't work.
Right.
And I got a speeding ticket less than a quarter mile from my house. And he could have written me for 22 miles over. He was gracious enough to only write me for 9. And I had some things in the car that were in the wrong kind of containers according to the laws of the state we live in. And he was gracious enough to not hem me up over that. So I'm certainly grateful for that. But the fact that he didn't arrest me, the fact that he did reduce the ticket to 9 miles over instead of 22, because that's reckless endangerment in this state. And they'd have taken my license and arrested me on the spot.
Ooh, damn, you did get lucky. That's good.
66 and a 45. That'll yank your license here.
That'll do it. That's all it takes. That's all it takes.
So I'm grateful that karma saw fit to let me learn a lesson that involved me coming out of pocket instead of going and sitting in a cell somewhere. I'm grateful that she took it a little easier on me than has happened in the past, but I've been being a good boy.
That's good. That's good, man.
And I'm trying my best to help other people get to where they are able to find their ascent as well. Find some ascent, even a little bit. Right. Just by making suggestions, different types of music, different tempos. People who are into electronic music. I can point them in a direction in that regard, but I typically try to say if you're going to go with electronic music, have something that's got a vocal attached to it.
Right.
Not just a bunch of beats, because
that can be a little off-putting.
It can be.
It just gets monotonous in my experience.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes, not all the time. There's been electronic music that I enjoy, but generally, even that has like samples in it, breaks it up a little bit. Yeah. Just
the good ones do.
Yeah.
But they're all messengers too. Back to the point of the spelling and casting spells, the music.
Oh yeah.
The music of our people. They cast spells all the time. Some are better at spells than others. Is it appropriate for me to name drop? I don't know.
I mean, you can talk about whatever you want, man.
Well, Macklemore is a good example. He produced a song called Glorious.
Okay.
if you notice the rhythmic patterns that he uses, you'll hear that the tone and pitch of his voice is slightly higher than the lowest tones in his music. But the majority of his music, the instrumental parts of his music, are up in the same tones as him. For the majority of the beginning of the song Glorious, he's left hand on the piano. Whoever it is that plays the piano in the song, they're left hand on the piano, so in the low tones. But by the end of it, it has slowly built a crescendo from the beginning of the song to the end of the song, and it ends with the right hand only on the piano keyboard.
Oh, interesting.
So I recognize that as a synchronicity. I recognize the synchronicity of that for being that Ryan McLemore uses his music to reach people who are in low vibrations in an attempt to bring them to higher vibrations. And his song told that story from start to finish. You start with a low vibration on that piano, while the rest of the instruments are at a higher vibration. It almost comes in as a subliminal. And it'll grab the people who are at a lower vibration because it's itself a lower vibration.
Right.
And eventually, again, it gradually works its way all the way across the keyboard to the end of the song.
Interesting.
And
I don't know that I've ever actually heard that song.
I would recommend it to anybody.
I mean,
I
think you just did.
If you're feeling kind of down and you have anything to do with recovery, pay very close attention to the lyrics because that's what it's all about.
Oh, yeah.
Every bit of it. Every bit of it. I'm a huge fan of recovery artists. Ryan McLemore is one of them. And I'm not calling him out. He's called himself out. So
right.
As far as anonymity goes, he's already done it.
Yeah, for sure.
But I'm super grateful for artists like him. Surfaces is another group. What was it? Sunday Best? Is that the name? Feeling Good. Feeling Good is the name of the song. Okay. Pharrell Williams. Happy.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. But Surfaces, Feeling Good. That one, man. That one will wake your soul up.
Yeah.
That one will, if you
That's a good one.
It's another one that I only noticed that rhythmic thing with the piano today.
Yeah.
I've listened to the song plenty, but until I made that correlation with Ryan McLemore, and then I heard the Surfaces song again, I found it. I caught it.
Right.
Yeah. Did the same thing. They did the same thing with piano.
Right. I just haven't listened to a lot of new music lately. Like, I found myself gravitating back towards the stuff I've always listened to.
Right.
Like, I was at the gym the other day listening to Metallica, like old school Metallica, like Master of Puppets. I was like,
Well, I mean,
everything's got a time and a place.
We are at that time of year where things become nostalgic.
Yeah.
To a certain degree, whether consciously or subconsciously. I
was riding around
unconsciously.
Riding around listening to Wu-Tang.
36 Chambers all day, but still.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure.
Super Wu-Tang fan over here.
But again, I've gotten, music apps for my phone that'll just play random music.
Right.
And I just let them play random music.
Yeah.
And I just, it brings me to these newer artists.
And, for sure.
And their messages. Because there's quite a few that I just can't pull their names out of the sky. The two that I mentioned is probably as far as I can go right now. But
there's a few that I've found just like doing that, just letting it play. Anderson .Paak was one of them. I really enjoy his stuff.
Yes.
I was just listening to I had a mix going on YouTube one day, and like some of his stuff popped up. This has been like probably a year and a half now, something like that. It's been a while. But I was like, man, that's really good. And then I started digging a little deeper, and I was like, man, that's really good. Like, this guy's got some fucking talent. And then, he just did that song with Bruno Mars, earlier this year.
Yes.
It was super good.
I've always been a fan of Bruno Mars anyway. Yeah. He's got an amazing message too.
Yeah, for sure. So man, let's talk recovery. Like, how is your recovery, man? Like, what have you been, like, how's it been going? What have you been doing? Like, what do you do to keep yourself centered? I mean, obviously you're in a constant state of meditation. We might as well call you an arahat right now. You and Daniel Ingram. Shout out to Daniel Ingram.
Well, I mean, I'm living life on life's terms. I'm accepting life as it comes, to the best of my abilities. And the times when I have struggle with it, when I have trouble accepting life, I reach out. You know, I talk to the people who know me the best. I talk to the people who love me and who I love in return. And, you know, my mother has been a huge help to me. My sponsor has been a huge help to me. Yeah. And all the people that I know I can depend on have been dependable.
That's good, man. It's good to have a good support system. I think that's probably more important than anything if you're in recovery. And I think that's one of the reasons that all these programs work. I think a lot of it boils down to the community and the fellowship involved.
Indeed.
In the program, like, you know, the NA program, the AA program, even the Buddhist-based recovery programs, but you know, they create a sangha within themselves, and you know, you get this little community going, and you know, I like what do they say in NA? The power of one addict helping another is without compare.
Oh man, they used other vocabulary, but yes.
Yeah, that's not verbatim. I can't tell you what page it's on. I'm not going to quote it proper. I'm not one of those guys. I do the stuff, but I'm not gonna you know, thump the book at you.
Well, my involvement in the structured programs like that came to an abrupt stop around my 4th year, but I still practice the tenets of it. I still practice the basis, the reason behind it. I myself, because of how analytical I have been over the course of my life, I had to connect dots in a situation like that. I had to be able to understand what I was looking at. So the correlation that I made with the 12-step programs, they've got 12 steps, they've got 12 traditions. Right. 12 steps is cognitive behavioral therapy. All right. It teaches you how to identify yourself.
They have 12. They have it's 12 steps, 12 traditions, and then
12 concepts and 12 spiritual.
That's what it's called. Concepts.
But just to keep it at the beginning stage, the 12 steps is cognitive behavioral therapy. The 12 traditions is dialectical behavioral therapy. The combination of the two is what they recommend for folks who have neurodivergence. And, you know, it's any form of neurodivergence, but a lot of the things like classic narcissism, bipolar disorder. Right. Bipolar is a little harder to deal with because that actually involves the chemical compounds in the brain. Right. But when we come to just behavioral and histrionic things, we're talking about borderline personality disorder, narcissism, like I mentioned, sociopathy, psychopathy, things that haven't gotten you arrested yet. But you know, again, the anonymous programs, the 12-step programs, initial introduction is to get you off drugs. Right. All right. But some folks, that's as far as they want to go with it. Right. Yeah. And some folks that actually works for. And that's great. That's great for them.
Yeah, for sure.
If they can live the rest of their lives with the same terrible behavior that they walked in the door with.
I mean, if that's something they want to do.
More power to them, and I pray for them.
Yeah.
You know, but my reality in my recovery, yes, I had to stop using drugs. Then I had to stop using people, places, and things to bring me happiness. Yeah. And you know, I tattooed a void on the palm of my left hand as a representation of that. The void that can never be filled by anything external. Yeah. There is not a single thing you can put in my hand that's going to give me happiness beyond how long I keep it there. Yeah. You know, I put a rock in my hand. I'm going to be happy about having that rock in my hand until I throw that rock down. And then my hand is going to be unhappy about not having anything to hold. Yeah. So if I don't put anything in my hand in the first place, it ain't missing nothing when I drop it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You know? So the peace that I had to find from within, the happiness that I had to derive from within came from those dark nights of the soul. Some people call it rock bottom. Right. Rock bottom is the dark night of your soul. That's when you're at your lowest. Yeah. You know, and you got to work your way back out of that low. And it's a really, really hard climb. And it is uphill 100% of the time. There's not a single part of recovery that is downhill unless you just walk backward. And you get respite every now and then. You come to plateaus for sure, without question. You come to plateaus. You come to points where you can stop and look back at where you were and say, oh man, I remember being there and I'm so glad I'm not there anymore. Right. But you can't get too comfortable on those plateaus. when you come to that point of, I can breathe. All right. Take your breath.
Yeah.
Pick a flower if you want to, but get your ass back on that trail and just keep going uphill, because if you stop, you're really going to stop.
Yeah.
And it's a real quick drop all the way back to the bottom. Yeah, I mean, that's reality. You know, it's a real quick drop. And
yeah, it's fast as shit. It'll creep up on you and drag you down that fucking hill faster than, man, you won't even know what's happening.
It's gravity. It's a law you can't break.
You won't even know what's happening.
It's gravity, baby. It's a law you cannot break.
Yeah. Yeah. Ugh. Gross. I'm you know, it just makes me think about my relapse earlier in the beginning of the year. And, you know, at first I beat myself up pretty bad for it.
We do that, yeah.
Yeah. I was not very happy with myself over the situation. But ultimately I came to really appreciate it, because I think it was a necessary step in the evolution of me as a person. Well,
relapse is a part of some of our recoveries. My relapse lasted for 19 years before I came back to the rooms.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm grateful I survived it, because apparently I needed 19 more years of terrible experiences to remove my head from my ass.
Yeah.
You know?
It seems like a lot.
It was. It was.
Yeah.
I wouldn't wish it on my enemy.
No.
Because I love my enemies a lot more than I ever loved myself.
Absolutely. I was going to say. Just about to say the same thing. I was like, yeah, I probably cared more about them than I cared about myself at some points.
For sure.
For many years, actually.
But I found
I'd say for the majority of my life, I probably.
That has been the real key of it, though. Is getting through that dark night of the soul, having some help getting through that dark night of the soul, bringing your ass back up out of that hole that you dug for yourself, and really, really grasping the concept of self-love.
Yeah.
Finding out how to love me unconditionally for who and what I am, not in spite of who and what I am, has been the most tremendous part of my recovery. And it has taken every single bit of the last 6 years for me to really start getting it.
Yeah.
You know?
That's the hardest fucking thing, man.
And I really love that I will never fully get it.
Yeah.
Because it means that I have to keep working on getting it. And I'm all about working on getting it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, well, the destination is, once you reach the destination, it's over. You know, like there's no.
The destination is the journey.
Yeah, exactly. It's the journey itself that is the
destination. Is the journey.
Exactly. There's no end point. It's like.
And I'm really looking forward to this shift that's about to go down, because it's going to melt brains, brother. It really is.
You think so?
I believe so with all of my heart.
That's coming up fast.
It is. You know, Samhain's going to be a handshake. Somebody else mentioned something happening on Yule. So if we're talking about October 31st through November 2nd, then December 21st. But the big deal is actually coming in February.
Yeah.
So we get a handshake at Samhain. We get a handshake at the end of the month, with the imperceivable and imperceptible. We get a handshake, and it's going to freak a lot of people out, and they're going to be in total disbelief, even though total disbelief doesn't exist anymore. There are people all over the world who've been, I don't want to say subjected to, but exposed to spirituality on many different levels.
Right.
And from many different perspectives.
Right.
And they all tell the same story. Every single one of them. They all tell the same story. They all believe the same things. They just don't realize that they all believe the same things.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%.
So this shift is actually going to create a bridge. It's going to create a bridge where
hope so.
The people of different dialectics and the people of different backgrounds and the people of different spiritual paths will start to come to realize that we're all just on a wheel, and all of these paths are the spokes that all lead back to a central hub, which is Source, the universe. You know, the one song.
Yeah.
The vibration of it, and that's us.
It's like the Buddhist wheel of life.
Exactly.
Yeah. The Buddhists had it right, for sure.
They all have it right.
Yeah, no, they do, and I think that at its core, every religion does one thing.
Well, again, I I've shared about this on my platform. If we start to look at these religious doctrines for the spiritual value that they're supposed to have in the first place, for instance, the Bible. Okay, if we look at the Bible for what it is, which again started with campfire stories in the middle of a desert,
right?
And got translated over and over again, got told over and over again. But the nuance is that it was supposed to be a spiritual guide, not a basis for religion, not a basis for control.
Right.
Okay, and that's what it became. It became a basis for control.
Yeah.
And that's why in the realm of titles, I am what would be referred to as an omnist. I believe in all of them. You said the Buddhists had it right. I agree. But so did the Muslims, so did the Christians, so did all the rest.
I never said anybody had it wrong.
They all have it right.
Yeah.
That was my reply.
Yeah,
they all have
absolutely.
it right. Okay, so they're in my thought process, there is truth to all of them.
100%.
But there is no absolute truth without all of them. You have to have all of them, otherwise you're not going to find any absolute truth.
Right.
Ever. And if you don't incorporate all of them, your truth will be skewed.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like I was saying, man, at their core, all of these, all religions are based in love. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Absolutely.
That's it. That's all they're about.
Be at peace.
Yeah. That's it.
Be at peace. That's how you express love.
I hate how the concept of, especially in Christianity, how the concept of heaven and hell have been so they're made into a geographic location. It's like a destination to reach. It's like, no. You get to choose which one you're at right now. Like, and that's entirely whether you choose to, live this way or not.
I have looked at religion like this, like epidemiology, like the epidemiology of religion. Mm-hmm. The ones that spread the furthest and the fastest are the ones who promise something in an afterlife, or even promise something in this life if you're a good kid.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Because everybody wants to believe that anything you do in this lifetime is going to positively affect you somehow, if the positive effect is what you're going for. At the same right, there's an equal balance of how much negativity can pass from this lifetime to the next. I have no argument with reincarnation. I know it to be truth. It is one truth.
Yeah.
And I believe in it myself.
Yeah, for sure.
Because again, we are all just energy.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely believe in reincarnation, not even just in an afterlife sense, but in a present time sense. Like I've been reincarnated countless times.
Indeed.
Yeah.
All right. Now we're getting into my theories and the information that I've been sharing.
Yeah.
The most. The star seeds, the indigo children, the ones, and this is where it gets super fun.
These are terms I hear a lot, but like I haven't. I'm going to just say I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about.
What's a starseed, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Lay some knowledge on me, brother.
All right. Let's go with it.
Because I am
a starseed. Now,
I see people posted shit all the time. I'm like, what in the fuck are you talking about, man?
The easiest correlation that I can make, because I grew up in a Christian household, all right, the easiest correlation that I can make is to, again, refer to the Bible as a spiritual guide more than a religious basis. So if we look at the
basic instructions
stories,
before leaving Earth.
If we look at the campfire stories, more specifically the campfire story about the casting down of Lucifer and an army of angels. So if we change the vocabulary a little bit, their Christian God, I refer to as source. Then my reference is source.
Right.
And so when I refer to source in this scenario, that's the representation of the Christian God.
Okay.
All right, so source is, of course, the origin of Kundalini. All creativity, all creative energy comes from source. So,
well, the source is a source, of course.
Indeed.
That's fucking terrible. That was like a dad joke.
Source had this idea. Source going to throw this ball of mud out into the cosmos, and We just play with words on it. The Adam and Eve, Adam is spelled wrong. It's Atom. Adam is earth. Eve is the moon. Lilith is the black moon. Eve's shadow. So getting back to the point, though, what is a starseed? A starseed is basically a cast angel. The energy of a cast angel when you follow the Christian stories. And it's, again, just a vocabulary issue. It's a vernacular. Okay. So the concept here is, of course, we are made in Source's image, which is light and love. Right. The starseeds, are made in that image. Lucifer was the first one to be made. Lucifer was the first, if we're following a storyline. Okay. Because a lot of people need a storyline.
Yeah.
I mean, so Lucifer was the first made.
It makes it easier to follow.
All the other angels were molded after Lucifer. Okay. Lucifer being number one, looking over Source's shoulder while he's playing with this ball of mud, and sees that he's going to make these beings that aren't quite the same. They get intact with free will. Starseeds don't have free will. We were not made to have free will. We were made to serve Source. And that is our will. Right. We are the will of Source. We are the extension of Source. We are the hands, the feet, the motivation, the movement, the action. We are the action of Source.
Boots on the ground. Yeah.
So this argument came up with Lucifer and his narcissism and his vanity. And the argument was, well, why do they get free will and we don't? So Source says, well, tell you what, this is what we're going to do. We're going to create this samsara. We're going to create this place of revolution. We're going to create this place of revolving action. Right. You're going to repeat the same things until you learn them right. And when you get it right, you can come home.
Yeah, get off the wheel.
All right. Now, so that creates a very distinct separation between a starseed and a human. Right. All right. A starseed is basically a download in a fleshy mech suit. And then the humans are Source's creation. We have bred with them very easily because we have to be in their little mech suits and we've got to procreate so we can pass our knowledge on. And ultimately, the energy that I am is the energy of my parents, their parents before them, so on and so forth. They all build up. When it comes down to it, though, we do have a purpose. This samsara, this place of samsara, depends on how you want to pronounce it. When I hear it, it's samsara. And I heard the word in my head 2 days before I found out what it meant, which was really odd to me. It really was. Yeah. I didn't understand it, and I was using it. I was using the word in vocabulary, and I was using it in proper context. I just didn't know that's what I was doing.
That's a little odd.
It is, and it melts my brain every time I think about it. But the reality there is, though, that so we got this samsara that we've got to work through. And the purpose of the humans having their experience is to have their experience. They actually have a finite number of chances. And the easiest way to describe any of it is to make it technological. The humans get a certain number of chances. By the time they finish their chances, law of average will decide whether they go to the light or if they just get reset. All right, so the incarnations go in a run of 12. And by the end of 11, the decision's already made. You get 12 as a walkthrough. And by the end of 12, if you haven't come to certain realizations, you're either gonna, at that point, you're what they'll describe as darkness is just a reset. You're just getting wiped. They're gonna wipe you and send you back with no memory, and you're gonna do it again 12 times over. And if you get it right, you can go home, and if you don't get it right, you're not going home. Well, the starseed's job, though, at this point, we have this at least 3 trines on this blade that we cut with. Of course, we are supposed to have this human experience also. We are supposed to learn unconditional love for all of humanity, including ourselves. Because we, of course, are supposed to be living in this human existence.
Right.
So we have to learn how to unconditionally love something that we innately despise. And we don't have this time frame, time limit thing. We want to get back to where I was at with the Lucifer being cast down. If you listen to the Bible story, if you read the Bible story about it, he was cast down onto earth to walk it for all of eternity. And then when did the story of Satan come in? Because Satan is the god of hell and punishment and all this other shit.
Right.
Satan and Lucifer are not the same entity whatsoever. Right. And I really enjoy living in the Bible Belt because I get to have arguments with people that are not really arguments.
Right.
They are points of discussion where I am educating them on something that will unlock something in their brain that will tell them that I'm not wrong about this, and then they'll actually do some research for themselves.
Yeah.
I like to use root words: Lucifer, Lux, Ifer, the morning star, the first light of day.
Yeah, he's a light bearer.
Yeah. What's more beautiful than the first light of day other than Lucifer? Some have equated it to Venus.
Yeah.
Some have equated it to Saul. Sometimes it's the sun, sometimes it's Venus. It depends on which story you get.
Right.
But nonetheless, the way the story goes, Lucifer got cast down with an army. And Lucifer wasn't the only one cast down when it happened. He was cast down with a whole army.
Right.
Those are the starseeds. To walk the earth, the samsara that it is, they didn't say anything about walking through hell. They didn't say that we're going to send you to hell. No. He sent us to earth, the samsara that it is, so that we can stay in this place of revolution, stay in this place of repeated actions, so that we can learn. Right? And a lot of us, myself included for a long time, a lot of us do see this place as hell, but it is not. A lot of us see it as purgatory, but it is not. A lot of us see it as, a lot of things that it's not. It is a place of learning. This is a jumping point.
I think it's all those things.
It is. It's all and none. It's what you decide it is. Yeah, realistically.
Exactly.
If you believe that this is hell, then sure, it absolutely is.
Well, I mean, it's what you make it.
Yeah. Heaven's what you make it, and hell's what you go through. That's what
that's what they say.
Was that from the Beastie Boys? I keep trying to remember which album this came from, man. But I remember hearing it back in the 90s when I was still a kid, and it's like, man, don't look up above you. There's no heaven. Don't look down below you. There's no hell. Heaven's what you make it, and hell's what you go through.
The kingdom of heaven lies within.
Indeed.
Yeah. So does hell, and so does the animal realm, and
so does source, because you are
the
source,
realm.
and I am source, and we are source, and source is source, and it's all source.
That's a difficult conversation to have with people.
It really is.
Yeah, that's one thing I've found when I try to convey just what we were just talking about, the connection to source. People don't like that. People like their God to be external, and they have a hard time accepting that not only are they God, but I am also a part of God.
Yeah. We are all God.
Yeah.
If God is the word that you want to use.
Yeah, I mean, if that's, your chosen vernacular.
We are all source.
Yeah.
I've again, back to the recovery experience, I've learned to not use God so much in my sentences because it has been offensive to some. So, again,
you can... and I think we can attribute that to Christianity for sure, because when people hear the word God, they think of the Judeo-Christian God.
Exactly.
I mean, that's just what comes to mind.
It's what they know.
Right.
And I was actually having a conversation with a young lady the other day and got into this discussion about Lucifer. And she's like, so I should be praising Lucifer? I said, no. You should continue seeing Lucifer as your equal, because that's all we ever were. We were just stupid enough to listen to him. Right. And he got us in this shit. And, I think part of the unconditional love is being able to forgive him too. Absolutely. So see yourself as an equal. Yeah. See yourself as an equal, because that's what we are. We are equals in the realm of that. Yeah. We are not equals in the realm of humanity. We are not humans. To disguise us as humans is enough. It's even a synchronicity involving Samhain for me. You know, the kids like to dress up for Halloween. I don't. I never did.
Right.
Because I'm already wearing a mask. Why would I put another one on top of it?
Oh, they're all wearing masks.
You know, I'm in a skin suit that doesn't belong to me. I'm just borrowing it. And why would I wear a mask?
Right.
I'm already not who I am here. Okay. I don't need to wear a mask. I'm already not who I am. You can't see my true form in this body. I can't see my true form in this body. But there's a bunch of us who can see the colors of our true form in this body. They call them auras. And that's just simple vocabulary. Yeah. Still. You know, and by and large, star seeds, the reason we're called indigo children is because we glow indigo. Indigo. I've equated it to an alcohol fire. You set moonshine on fire. Yeah. That's our aura. That's the aura of a starseed. It's an alcohol fire. But it's going to change depending on their mood. You know, if they're out of attunement, what you'll see of them in their aura is where their attunement is broken. You know, so if you see if you know somebody's a starseed and you see them red one day, they've got a blockage in their root chakra. If you see them green one day, they have a blockage in their heart chakra. You know, and I was seeing green yesterday, and sure enough, I had a blockage in my heart chakra. I was thinking about something that was harmful to me, and I was having trouble letting go of it, and that caused a blockage in my heart chakra. It skewed my view of love in at least one regard. So I had to identify it. I had to find it, and I had to release it, and I had to realign myself. Yeah. You know, I ended up a ball of energy after it yesterday. That's how I got a speeding ticket. Yeah. You know, I exploded and I let it loose, and it was not a conscious thought. Right. And the highway patrolman that pulled me over is in the same spot every day, and I know he's there every day. Yeah. And I don't speed past him every day, and now I did. Yep. That day you did. Oops. And I take the lesson for what it is. There was a synchronicity in it. Yeah. So I had to learn from it. Yeah. Well, we learn from our mistakes, or with any good semblance of good fortune, yes. I mean, we hope to learn from our mistakes. I mean, it's entirely up to you. It is. Yeah. It always is. Yeah. I mean, everything is. It always is. I guess, like we were saying earlier, man, like I can equate all the good and all the bad. Well, for the most part, I mean, everything that's been out, you know, within my control, anything I had a decision over, I fucked all that up. Nah, that's mine. Yeah. Yep, I did that. I'll own that. I did that. I'll own all that forever. I'm absolutely about accountability, even the ones we don't want to accept. Yeah. Yeah, me too. Unfortunately. It's made for a lot of lengthy step work. It's made for a whopper of a fourth step. Oh, indeed. Ugh. Indeed. Ugh. There's already like 90 questions. But I love the catharsis of the fifth. You know, the catharsis of the fourth and fifth steps are absolutely necessary. Yeah. Because in as much as you might have come out of the darkest night of your soul before you walked in that room, you're about to introduce yourself to another one, and you're going to be present emotionally for it. Right. And it's going to be so much harder. Yeah. You know, that was one of the things that I pointed out to people. On my 4th birthday share, I said, in the last 4 years, I've experienced more emotional trauma than I ever did in the 40 years that preceded this. Because I was present to feel them. Yeah. Yeah. Not because I was being treated some type of way. Right. Not because I was being... Yeah, you were just aware. Ultimately, I did end up getting ostracized. But nonetheless, that's not why. I had to experience it. Yeah, you were fucking sitting in it. You were aware of it, and you weren't dumping anything off of it to dull the experience. Yeah. Yeah. Had nothing to take the edge off with. Yeah. The blade, rough. The blade cut all the way through. Yeah, that shit's rough. You know? And again, in retrospect is the only thing that'll give me gratitude for it. I can tell you right now, I was not grateful for it while it was happening, but I am so grateful that I did it. Yeah. I'm so grateful that I followed through. Have you, did you continue to do step work after you went through your first round? I never finished the first round. You never finished, huh? No. I never finished the first round of physical step work. I have done the 4th step 4 times. I've done 4th step, 5th step. I've gotten up to the 7th step 4 times in their structure. But, 9 through 12, it's all pretty much self-guided anyway.
It's just a revisitation of
and a consciousness.
4th, 5th, and 6th, or the 6th and 7th. Yeah.
An active consciousness from 9th through 12th. The 12th is the spiritual awakening, but they make it sound like you have to go through your 12 steps to get to the spiritual awakening part, and that's just not true.
Well, yeah, I don't.
The spiritual awakenings happen all the time if you pay attention.
Right. Yeah.
If you allow them to happen, they do.
Yeah, you just got to get out of your own way and be cognizant enough of the present time.
Yeah. Be in the now.
Yeah.
Eckhart Tolle. The power of now.
Be here now. Ram Dass.
The power of now. Eckhart Tolle.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same message, different messenger.
I mean, it's pretty much what the Buddha was trying to say. He's like, hey, all that other stuff, just be in the moment.
Yeah.
Just be right here, right now.
Absolutely.
No, other shit matters.
You know what I really love was that the Buddha was a war machine until he was in his late 30s.
Yeah.
I love that. I absolutely love that because I was absolutely a war machine until I was in my late 30s. I have walked the path.
You and me both, brother.
I'm grateful that this unalome is going to finally come to a point one day.
Well, one day. One day.
One day.
Hopefully we get there. Maybe not in this lifetime, but...
No choice but get there.
Maybe not in this lifetime, but, we're setting the stage for things that, it's interesting. I heard that somewhere that, like, if you, like... how was it phrased? I can't remember exactly the way they phrased it verbatim. But if you were like, if you're drawn to the Dharma,
mm-hmm.
or any, if you're drawn to the path, that you've probably been on the path before, and that's why you're drawn to it in this incarnation.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I have no question in my mind about it.
Yeah.
Again, the incarnations are how omnism comes together in the first place. If we're really talking about source and if we're really talking about all, then we have to incorporate all. And, it can be speculated that, as long as they come up with a new deity every year, it's going to kind of extend our visit.
Yeah.
Because then we got to learn that doctrine too. We got to learn that perspective too. And that might take an entire incarnation.
That's cool. I got time.
Yeah. Well, no, time still doesn't exist, but
I know.
I know what you mean.
I have the you know what I mean.
Yeah. I'm here. I'm present.
I've got incarnations.
I'm present.
I've got incarnations to deal with.
Yeah. We got the unlimited supply. Till we get it right. Oh,
that makes me just want to work that much harder.
But we're here to usher them anyway. We're here to steward them to source. That is our purpose. Yeah. It's to steward them to source. And at the same time, the I'd say duplicity, but it's triplicity. We have to learn that the love and unconditional love for ourselves and all of them, no matter how wretched they are.
Yeah, even Hitler, even Stalin.
All of them.
Every one of them.
All of them. All of them. Okay, we have to love all of them and ourselves. That's the important one. We still have to love ourselves.
Yeah. Sometimes that's the hardest one. I think all the time that's the hardest one.
I'm going to love me unless I do this. No.
Yeah.
No, I love me.
Yeah.
I make stupid mistakes sometimes. Yeah. And I get to be accountable for that and learn from it.
Yeah. Something I've been talking about a lot.
Still love me.
Something I've been talking about a lot lately is I had just a really bad inner critic for ever.
Tertiary purpose, though, of the seed is to sharpen each other's tools. Steel sharpens steel. In order for us to be able to survive with these humans, we have to know each other too.
Right.
And the only way to attune ourselves is to attune ourselves. Individually and together.
Yeah.
Okay. That's why these interactions come into play. We have to have them.
Yeah.
We are unlocking each other through these conversations.
Right. Well, that's it's probably one of the reasons I do this. Yeah.
Yeah.
I honestly, I don't know why I got the idea to start this thing.
Exactly. Just popped in one day,
It's just
though.
like, yeah, I'm gonna do that, and this is what it's gonna be about.
Well, that's the message buffering through.
It's just kind of evolved into what it is.
It's all seventh chakra.
Oh man, it's heavy.
It's all in and out all the time. Unless you shut it down, you have the option.
Yeah,
you can cut it off.
There's
healthy ways to do it, though.
I'm good. I'm good.
You can just close your third eye.
I'm good. I dig it. I dig it. I dig having all my eyes open.
I do too.
Yeah,
I do too. Very much prefer it.
Yeah, I can't really imagine going back to the other way.
I don't want to.
No.
I have no want for that.
I don't even want to imagine it.
And I especially enjoy that I don't live in wanton. I don't live in lack any longer.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to say that I have things materially, but I don't live in lack for it.
Right.
You know, and I've been homeless.
Oh, yeah.
I know I can be.
Yeah, me too.
I can live in what most folks consider lack, but not lack anything.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's all perspective.
It is.
Yeah.
It always is.
Absolutely. Well, man, this has been super fun. We'll have to do this for sure again sometime.
I look forward to it then.
Good, man. Well, shit. We'll wrap it up. Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Once again, big thanks to John for being on the show. If you want to get in touch with him, he can be reached on TikTok at BPDSurvivor422. Once again, this has been Dharma Junkie. Thanks for listening. Namaste.
Chaos is beautiful.